following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Friday, the 10th of June, 2016, are currently trading with gold at $1,273.54 an ounce, silver $17.32 an ounce, Texas crude $50.56 a barrel, and Bitcoin seems to be leveling off at 580 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1967, the states of Israel, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, and Egypt end the Six-Day War with assistance from the United Nations. Arab casualties are estimated at around 20,000, while fewer than 1,000 are estimated for Israel. Though the ceasefire wasn't signed until the 11th, the United Arab Republic began their retreat between them and Israel in the Six-Day War. Today in history. In recent news, Brian Armstrong reported an incident around noon outside the Dallas Love Field Airport today, where an unidentified man was shot several times right by the entry-exit doorways by the police. Of course, the airport was briefly placed on lockdown. Dallas Assistant Chief of Police Randall Blankenbaker said that a number of people who had been waiting to get through security when the shots went off ran past the TSA workers to get away from the chaos, and this was the reasoning for the lockdown. Apparently, the man who was shot and a woman, the mother of his kids, got in some kind of domestic dispute outside of baggage claims when the man began to use rocks to attack the lady. When she cried for help, the police showed up, and then he allegedly began to charge the police, which led them to firing several rounds into him. Luckily, she wasn't hurt, and the officer that shot the man was placed on leave, as is normal procedure following any shooting. The incident is under investigation. Alphabet Incorporated's Google is battling accusations that it manipulated its predicted searches function to favor Hillary Clinton. This is after SourceFeed, which is owned by Discovery Communications, showed that typing Hillary Clinton, CRI, into a Google search box yielded suggestion queries related to crime reform, crisis, and a crime bill, but it didn't include the suggested search of Hillary Clinton crimes. That is, although Google statistics show that search is more common than the suggested ones. Google said in a statement that, quote, Google autocomplete does not favor any candidate or cause. Claim to the contrary simply misunderstands how autocomplete works. Google also said that autocomplete software won't show a predicted query that is offensive when displayed in conjunction with a person's name, which apparently crime is listed in the list of offensive terms. This is Rick Rohde with your lowdown for June 10th, 2016.
Logos Radio Network presents The Truth Exposed Radio Show every Wednesday 6 to 8 p.m., bringing to you breakdowns on current events, history, and philosophy with your hosts, Rick Rohde, Marshall Soul, and Cuddy Rowe. Welcome and thank you for tuning in.
It is June 15th, 2016. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network. I am one of your hosts, Cuddy Rowe.
Marshall Soul. And we got Rick Rohde over here sitting on the side.
Oh, yeah. Locked and loaded. Oh, man. Oh, man.
What a crazy time to live in today. What a crazy time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sure everybody is well aware of the Orlando shooting. The biggest story to take your eyes off of the Bilderberg meeting.
Yeah, the Bilderberg meeting and the stir-up of the war in the Middle East and Eastern Europe and Africa.
Yep. They really know how to divert everybody's attention real quick.
Yep. I mean, it's one thing to cover a particular topic, but then just to stick with it when there's so much going on in the news, you know, one can only cover so much.
So true. I mean, there's a lot of holes in the shooting story, too, as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions to bring up about it, and it's just too soon to say for certain on many subjects, but one thing's for certain. There's something fishy.
Definitely. Something stinks.
Something real fishy about it all. And
of course, guns are to blame, right? AR-15s are sexist and homophobic.
Yes, it's true. This is true.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Everybody knows that.
I'm sure.
You got, Anderson, CIA
Cooper.
Mockingbird Cooper. Yeah, definitely, he's, playing on the fields and nobody ever wants to abolish, the biggest murderer of mankind, No.
Are you talking about government there, buddy?
Yeah.
Not government. We can't abolish that.
No, democide's fine. We can just maybe some people might want to limit democide a little bit, but for the most part, no, democide's fine. It's just the small little,
It's those pockets of resistance that need to sit down and shut up.
Yeah, wars of aggression, killing people through economic sanctions and carpet bombing their homelands and whatnot. And hey, patriotism.
Or funding and radicalizing groups of militants in certain areas and bringing them to other areas, or using them in their own areas to destabilize for their own political or economic gains, which all those tactics that NATO and many Western countries have gotten so familiar with for using that in third world countries. I think they decided to bring it home and use it here, the same tactics, to justify political agendas and persuade perception.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that they bring up, like, they're already talking about starting to want to ban guns. And they fail to perceive that just because you outlaw something does not mean that a criminal cannot still get their hands on it. Usually they're already in that market. How did the making drugs criminal work? It gave the
cartels
a market.
Yeah.
It gave them something to go out there and sell. So what do you think is going to happen if you ban guns? There's going to be a market for them.
It basically creates warlords.
Yeah. Those risky and with the means to be so risky and willing to risk so much will go out in the market and provide for the need.
Oh yeah, and I mean you're gonna get more red market ties to it after that. I mean you're gonna have people murdering and killing for
because normally they would call that the black market, but that's not necessarily a black market because, like you said, it's the red market where there's
people start murdering for the weapons. Well, just
for the goods, the weapons, or how the commodities came about. They came about through force, so that would deem it the red market, not necessarily the black market.
Yeah, I mean, the more something's illegal and the harder it's to get your hands on it. It's definitely raises the cost and value of that item in society. And when you raise the cost and value, well, people are willing to do more extreme things to gain that cost and value. And it's just sad
like
that we don't see. Yeah, it's sad we don't see just the market effects of reality. And granted, you may curb back actual gun ownership or at least the sales of guns. But future sales of guns and the amount of guns we already have in the United States are two different things. And I mean, you cut back on the sale of guns, it's eventually going to lead to the confiscation of guns already here. Not to mention, it's essentially impossible when you consider it would involve outlawing, lathes and presses and drill presses and
good luck with that.
Machining tools. Yeah,
where there's a will, there's a way, and it's not like just like the original prohibition of alcohol. The very families that became political establishment after prohibition was repealed, the very families that were doing that were the ones running the alcohol and making a killing off of it because the market value went up on it because it was no longer legal. The Kennedys, they made their fortune running alcohol.
Exactly. And one of the reasons why the red market becomes involved is because people realize, they cannot call, for the supposed authority to come and save the day, so we can make them victims.
Exactly.
That's why prostitutes these days need pimps and drug dealers need, all these guns and, go down the line. I mean, anything that's illegal, why, yeah.
And then once you start making everything illegal, everybody becomes a criminal.
Yeah.
And that's a major point, right? I mean, taking away people's rights to sell and trade and buy guns is going to make otherwise victimless so-called criminals criminals, right?
Yeah.
People that are buying weapons, not hurting anybody. People that are selling weapons, again, not hurting anybody, are going to now be fined and jailed and taken away and incarcerated.
And we can make them slaves in jail.
At your expense, mind you.
And it's funny, the media is trying to point the finger at the NRA. Not that I really care or like the NRA, but what does the NRA have to do with anything to do with guns?
They want to use that.
They're a lobby.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what they want to do is take that over and then basically lobby the guns away.
Only our lobbyists are allowed.
Heck, I would say they are the real registration operation, if you will. For those that don't register the guns, those register with the NRA, they got guns.
Yeah. So true.
And it's a convoluted issue for sure, because on one end, I mean, we do have a lot of weird coincidences or abnormal occurrences with this particular shootout at the Orlando Dance Club, and stuff that's just still coming out. I mean, admittedly, by the media and footage that you can Google and YouTube for yourself, that really gets your head scratching.
The media's having to adapt their story as it comes out as well, because they came out with the narrative first.
Yeah. So on one side of the equation, we do have a lot of holes in the theory, and it kind of points to the typical culprit, the leech in the room, if you will. But on the other side of the equation, I mean, Islam is an ideology, and it is something that is very much something that's being promoted in the West, and usually results in these kind of violent occurrences, whether it's domestic or out in public, like in this situation. So it's a convoluted issue. It seems like they want us to get either on one side of the equation or the other, blame government and be completely blind to the tenets and teachings of Islam, or blame Islam and be completely blind to what government's role in it, has been. So it's a dirty path.
It all goes back to government, pretty much.
Yeah. Regardless of if it really happened, or if it was staged, or if it was partially both. I mean,
it's being used for a political agenda
as well. And it's funny, the little links to the State Department. The shooter's father's been to the State Department.
Oh, has he now?
Multiple times.
He's running for the president of Afghanistan too. He wanted to be the president of Afghanistan.
There's 3 or 4 articles that I found earlier, just when I initially just tried to look it up, and I was pretty surprised to see.
A main shooter had multiple selfies of him with the NYPD
shirt on,
or certain PD different T-shirts on, and granted, that doesn't really say much, but I mean, still, he supported it. I think he even tried to sign up to the police department, didn't he?
And he was an employee of the G4S security service, an international security service, mind you, that has access to all types of firearms through their licensing.
They're actually a Homeland Security contractor.
And aren't they based out of Florida? They were based out of Florida as well.
So look, it's the fireman burning down, the house, so you can call it like Homeland Security,
as well as the 2 FBI supposed interviews, and then the FBI coming out and admitting that they had 2 informants with him. Well, these informants could also be handlers, as we've heard time and time again with reports from the FBI, where they're out there, they find some gullible sap, and they help him make a bomb or help arm him, help facilitate ideas and these delusions of grandeur, where they go out and do such things to cause harm or to justify their own jobs. The FBI, they were doing that during the 20s with the bank runs.
So true, and
that's how they got the FBI became able to be armed, was during the 20s with the shootouts with the cartels and the mob over them in Chicago and whatnot. They need to defend themselves from these gangsters.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of funny stuff about this. I mean, the interview with his wife sounds really sketchy. I think she also implemented herself and is going to be arrested, if not already. Probably going to go to prison for saying, she knew about it and didn't tell anybody.
Do you remember a couple months back?
I think on that point they're saying that they're going to drop any kind of charge, only because she said that she tried to stop him or whatever, encourage him to not do it.
Only because she's a handler is what it sounded like, and that she's also got a handler above her is what it sounded like in the interview, because someone's whispering in her ear what to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's
like in an earpiece or something.
Like someone's
or
like
just an actual person.
Someone's actually there, like telling her what to say.
Well, it was just like a couple months back. The FBI had got a guy they helped him build a little model airplane, and he was supposedly going to fly a bomb somewhere, but they stopped him just in time.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to bring that up to help justify the claim that, hey, the FBI is probably handling this one and saying, hey, you know what?
The underwear bomber?
Well, he was on their terror list, wasn't he? I mean, he was already being watched by the FBI.
But he can purchase weapons, yeah. Wasn't he on the no-fly list? I mean, come on now.
How does a guy get investigated by the FBI, be able to buy a gun? It's the same way a woman being investigated by the FBI can run for...
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Hello, mate. All right? Yeah, I'm all right.
I wanna say it now, but now is today. And love has been given to grab and enjoy. So let's all grab and let's all enjoy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio right here on this Logos Radio Network. I'm one of your hosts, Marshall Soul.
Cody Rowe.
Rick Rody.
And we're just pontificating and chatting about the events that have, been put upon us. And what the media
projected upon us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And giving a little hindsight to some prior events and things to help us better understand what we're witnessing.
Modern day Operation Gladio, you don't say?
Yes. I'm glad you said that too, because I was sitting back listening to Sybil Edmonds and what's that gentleman's name who has the podcast with her?
Corbett?
Yes.
James Corbett?
James Corbett. Yeah. They were going on and on, and their Operation Gladio it goes pretty deep. It goes all the way back to the Cold War, where we were fighting Russia with proxy little armies that on the borders or places they had influence. We were over there, funding and training, people how to fight our little wars for us, so we didn't have to have our hands directly upon it. And over time, they utilized that in Europe for political destabilization and for particular measures to come into play through politics. And after the Cold War, they pretty much decided to start bringing it home and using it on us.
Yeah. And now we've got, the White House telling us, hey, if you just give up your guns, the terrorists will stop attacking.
Yeah, what is it? White House press secretary actually said that, didn't he?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't say. Give up your right to protect yourself, and the people that want to hurt you are not going to hurt you anymore. That always worked at school with the bully. I just, kept putting my hands down and getting beat up, and he just kept, he just decided to stop one day because I didn't do anything. That never works. You got to smash the bully.
They want you to become a victim.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention we got several witnesses describing several shooters being involved in this, not just...
they mentioned another shooter, and they mentioned someone holding the door.
People have mentioned up to 4 different shooters involved in this. I don't know how you can conceal an AR-15.
And many reports saying there was a fully automatic weapon. That's not legal. So even if they ban the automatic, it's already banned.
Yeah.
I think killing people is illegal too.
Yeah. Let's just be.
And he also had a bomb strapped to him, supposedly.
Did he?
That's what the claim was.
Interesting.
Where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, you take away their means to do it one way. All you're doing is taking away means
bombs
for
are already illegal
to defend themselves.
Aren't they? Bombs are already illegal. Where do you buy bombs at?
Well, you got pressure cooker, right?
Oh yeah. Did they ban the pressure cooker? I know they were trying to.
Yeah,
they were trying to.
They thought about it for their part of it.
How else are you supposed to make chicken and
I didn't even know you could make it took me for them to tell me, you use a pressure cooker to make a bomb. Oh, okay, thanks.
How'd that go?
Are you going to give out all the recipes on Anarchist Cookbook?
They must have visited the dark web.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Oh, there's just so many. There's
many inconsistencies in how quick they were to jump on the anti-gun bandwagon.
Oh yeah.
The media reports, the interviews with these. I don't know. It's hard to take them as sincere interviews because they seem pretty fake to me.
The first interview they did with that one kid I showed you is already been proven to be an actor, not a crisis actor, but an actor, and he is also the one that.
Well, they're typically gay, right?
And now Rick.
And he said in an interview on CNN.
I mean, he just may have been,
he said a bullet the size of his finger.
Yes,
the size of his finger, 3 inches long.
Yeah, about 3 inches
was sticking out of the person's leg.
Okay, now how does that work? You can't have a bullet that big. Okay, first of all, what comes out of the gun is the lead. The bullet casing hits the ground next to you. So what he's describing is pretty much the bullet in the casing in the jacket waiting to get shot out.
Did he specify if it was the upper part of the leg, when where the other leg meets the other leg?
The lead's not that big.
In between the bunions, he might have been looking at something else there.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, because from what he's describing, he says as big as my finger. There's no way. If you got shot by that, it would have gone in and out and shattered whatever it hit in its path.
Yeah, I mean any slug that's
unless you were
inches long,
5 deep in people and it already went through 4 people or 5 people and then got to you.
I guess one of the shooters was shooting.
But still, it would still be a smaller piece of lead. It would not be as big as your finger unless you're shooting a 50.
Yeah, obviously something's up with that guy. If that somebody really said such a thing, and
he said it was him.
You got if somebody actually really said that, I mean, it's on YouTube, so it's not it's not computer generated, and this is on mainstream media.
Yeah.
So this isn't again some quack on the internet, right? This is Your
On
trusty,
CNN.
your
It was on
trustworthy
CNN.
CNN, yeah. And you got Univision basically going to the apartment, to Omar's apartment afterwards, and conveniently finding his gun license on the counter and the Quran and a bunch of Islamic.
Did they have his voting, his registration card as a Democrat?
They always leave the Quran.
That part was conveniently hidden away.
They didn't have the registration as a Democrat on the table there too.
No, they didn't have that one.
I guess not. Or his G4S security, badge and all that crap he had to have for that.
That would have been a national security issue at that point.
Yeah.
There's also video footage of one of the victims being carried out down the street, and it's on RT.
Well,
and
now,
when it gets
wait. He can't be getting carried out because they're carrying him towards the club.
I don't know. It's interesting. They get him down the street though, and they think they're off camera, and then they set him down, and he starts pushing the guys that were carrying him and joking around, and the other guy that was carrying him gives him a thumbs up. It's like,
It just starts walking like nothing.
yeah,
or
walking like
standing
nothing. He pulls his pants up and starts walking, and it's like pushing the guy that was carrying him. It's like they're all joking and laughing and smiling. Like, who's joking, laughing, and smiling, pushing, giving thumbs up?
Yeah.
You're shot in the leg with a double tourniquet. What?
And there's barely any supposed blood on you.
I mean, at least the Boston bombing, they did a better job. I mean, they had, better bloody crisis actors staying awake and
paint
wheelchairs
bottles
with
Yeah, they should have hired those guys again. They did a better job, and they learned from I'm sure they learned from their mistakes at the Boston bombing. And
oh yeah.
Oh crap, they got us.
And then not to mention, there's also speculation as to the holdout and the shootout and everything, the hostage situation. Cops may have been implicit in actually shooting some of the people in the club with I'm sure they
The
just
crossfire.
unloaded and
Adrenaline going, you might have missed, your target, and that can happen.
I've heard of them shooting from everything from your small pet to your kid, when they show up.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you called them for.
Yeah, when they show up, they're going to shoot something, dang it.
Yeah. It's like Homer Simpson.
Chief Wiggum. Yeah. No, yeah, it's
got all the way here, guys. Now I need to shoot something.
yeah.
Turn off your TV, bang.
And really, regardless, I mean, again, we're not even, assuming, okay, let's just assume that the narrative is completely on point. It's just a radicalized, ISIS sympathizer. Well, the solution isn't then go after the guns. I mean, that's just idiotic. I mean, that's just, it solves absolutely nothing. And in fact, it puts gays and lesbians and transgenders in a greater predicament, because now you're disarming them and taking away their right to defend themselves in any situation that may arise of that sort. So it's actually putting more people in danger.
Yeah, I wouldn't think armed gays would get bashed. I think people who were trying to bash gays would, think twice if they saw them, or knew
There's for sure,
or knew at least
pink pistols, right?
They could, yeah.
And the open, there's going to be a gay pride parade here in San Antonio. I can't remember the day they're having it. But
that's next Friday when Trump shows up.
The open,
is it Bernie Sanders?
Is that it? Okay. Well, the open carriers offered them protection. They offered to go with them, free of charge, open carry, make sure that nothing goes down.
Yeah.
Oh man, Rick got it.
I thought that was this past Friday or this coming up Friday that Trump was coming to town.
Yeah, it's coming up.
It's coming up.
And hopefully we'll be going down. So
the GOP and the GPP.
Yeah,
We're coming on to a break. Stay tuned.
What's a birthday party without balloons and whistles? A European birthday party, that's what. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll tell you how the EU's uptight regulators are putting an end to childhood fun next.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Talk about a party pooper. In the name of child safety, the European Union has made it a crime for kids to use party whistles, blow up balloons, and catch magnetic fish at parties. And the fear-mongering doesn't stop there. EU bureaucrats say toy noisemakers with long paper tongues are dangerous. They've banned all teddy bears unless they're washable, and they're controlling the sounds made by rattles and toy instruments. Next thing you know, European kids will be celebrating their birthdays in padded cells, for their own protection, of course. But these rules aren't so surprising if you think about it. After all, we know how much those regulators hate whistleblowers. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Looking for some truth? You found it. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Truth Exposed Radio, and as y'all know, we are live every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. here on the Logos Radio Network. Definitely check out the page, logosradionetwork.com, and due to constraints, transmission costs, inflation, FCC cramming down our throats, what we can spew out of our throats.
Yep.
We've had to extend the gun giveaway, Logos 2016 gun giveaway. We've extended it yet another
We're just going to keep extending it until we get that money.
Till we get to the
come on
to the final finish line on this. Hopefully, it doesn't end the way
yeah, right.
some other things end. But
yeah, come on now.
But no, seriously though, check out logosradionetwork.com, and we are. I'd say I don't know what's that look like. 60%, nearly 60%.
That's at 58%.
5,800, 58%.
It's at 58%.
So we're almost there. We're almost there. I mean, more than halfway at least.
8%.
Yeah, 8% over halfway, and
appreciate it.
Do appreciate anybody that's been able to chip in and help out, and realize that this does go into specifically helping the network continue their transmissions, not into paying our.
We don't see a cent of that.
Yeah, paying our bills or
that's just
loading up our wallets.
That's just to facilitate the radio show.
Yeah, we got other means of doing that.
Yeah, this is definitely part of our charitable contributions to society, not part of our hustle. So I definitely would encourage you guys to, again, check out logosradionetwork.com, and really neat first and second prizes. I'm sure you guys have seen them, but check them out again.
Multiple third prizes.
Especially now with all the hype on gun control and gun restrictions. And
if you just give them up, everything will be fine.
I'm sure. Well, you just give up $25. It puts you in this drawing.
$25 and you got a chance at a first prize Spike Skull lower receiver for an AR-15. $25 get you in, as well as the second prize Taurus Curve, a nice sleek pistol to use for concealed carry. And I bet you you would like to be concealed carrying right about now. Make sure everybody in your family and yourself is protected and those around you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You also get, it's all about vapor.
10 third prize.
10 third prize winners get $25 gift certificate over there. And also, if you purchase the traffic seminar, Eddie Craig's traffic seminar before July 31st, you get 10 entries in that gun drawing. And I tell you before, and I tell you again and again, it's worth it just for his seminar alone. Cuddy's looked over my shoulder when I've had to work a couple cases and angles. He's looked over it. We've brainstormed on it. He knows it's worth it.
Oh yeah.
Heck, I got mine because I felt guilty because I was looking over Andrew's shoulder at the stuff he got, and I was like, you know what?
Well, you need to know this stuff too because they're getting away with a lot of stuff that you don't realize, and you can get a lot of tickets dismissed if you just know your rights and you know exactly not how to incriminate yourself on the side of the road, and that's when they first get you. So it's really
you show them how to put it, that you're willing to put up enough of a fight to make it to where it's really not worth it to pursue you because of the things that may come out of the case and the amount of money they're going to have to spend prosecuting you. It's really not worth it to them. And I was getting information from Andrew, getting documents from him, and eventually he gave me like Eddie Craig's file, which was smaller back then. And I felt bad that I had this information and it was working for me, that I actually went out of my way and bought it and personally paid Eddie here.
Yeah, I think I was
give
with
me
you
my
when
own
you bought
copy
that.
So I can have a clear conscience on this because it's worth it.
Yep.
And I got even more than I bargained for.
And it's really not trying to get away with something when you really
it's showing you how to read the law.
Yeah, I mean, when you really get into Eddie Craig's traffic seminar, you realize that this is what the law actually states. So you're within the full jurisdiction of the legal code, and actually not trying to do any backdoor or back deal, under the table deals or anything of the sort. Your little Freemason handshakes with the judge or any of that. It's actually all in accordance with what's written in the book. So fully in agreement with the rule of law.
I mean, heck, I fought a parking ticket with a tort notice, a 9-page tort notice. And that's before I had the seminar material. After that, I went and bought it.
So we got Cut here posting, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going crazy. I'm trying to post all the little anomalies and interesting little things here. One of them that I don't know if we mentioned is that multiple supposed witnesses, victims, family members of victims, whoever's speaking on camera is calling for gun control as well.
Oh, so how convenient, right? Yeah. Victims in the state of extreme anguish. And
then one of the guys...
A mother that doesn't cry that her son was shot and killed.
Well, she fakes cries, but there's no tears.
Her no facial expressions. Like, she had, like Joan Rivers plastic surgery style, like if they told her she couldn't move her face to make facial expressions. That's probably the only excuse I could see out of it.
Definitely reminded me of the Sandy Hook actor, old man guy, who were the school bus or whatever stopped with all the kids, or all the kids had ran over to his house, and he was like,
Oh,
crying.
that guy, yeah.
That guy was an actor as well. I can't remember his name, but they had, showed his profile online and was an actor. So, this Louis Bardano, he was one of the first interviewed. He was an actor. He's an actor as well.
And it was CNN that interviewed him.
And he may very well been there. I mean,
well, yeah, and I thought too. Well, yeah, it's Orlando. I mean,
right.
Yeah, there could be.
It's a pretty prestigious club.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
this is the guy.
Well, Orlando. There's Epcot Center. There's all that Disney and everything. So that's not far fetched that he could be an actor trying to aspire to get into Hollywood.
But what is far fetched is his story about the bullet that was.
In the leg. That was super far fetched. I mean, crazy story.
And not to mention, hey, no security camera footage.
No.
I mean, where's all that at?
That looked like a pretty nice club, and they don't have security cameras.
They had the same problem the Pentagon did on 9/11. I tell you, them terrorists they're tricky.
They know when the cameras are off.
They know when they change the tape.
Yeah, they do.
They grew up playing Metal Gear Solid, avoiding the cameras.
Tricky little fellers.
Nah, yeah, seriously, it's really all these suspicious activities happening around.
Where were all the social media posts? About, usually when things happen, there's all these social media posts that come up, videos and all that. People are quick to get videos recordings of it. The only post that I caught the other day, I was looking at it, they were bringing up posts of people saying things before they even happened.
Yeah.
Well, and I think
Building 7.
Yeah, right. And I think that some articles were even written about the shooting
the
at
day
a
before.
gay club. Yeah, the night before. So
interesting. Yeah.
Someone got their times slipped up.
I'm sure it's just a glitch in the interwebs.
And there was one girl that was they have the live archives of what goes on on the emergency radios for the various parts of your city. You can get on your phone, look up an app to where you can listen to the radios. You can hear what the police are doing on the public scanners and all that stuff. Well, there's a normal archive of the day's calls going through and the transmissions. Well, on that day, the order was changed up on which the archive saves or loops, or when they change it over. And only on that day, on multiple locations, multiple channels.
Interesting.
It's just little things that add up that don't make a lot of sense, And I've seen some of our fellow ANCAP friends, say, hey, point out the fact that imagine if there was a private security there. You think any of this would have gone down the way it did? If it the way they say.
Yeah, if you had armed security there.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Well, heck, all he really needed was a taser. He could have just taken that guy's gun and dealt with him.
Yeah. I mean, any means of self-defense is better than none.
Yeah. No, definitely some suspicious activity with this, and typical rhetoric from the media, again, anti-gun rhetoric, and
jumping straight on the bandwagon.
And I even caught some anti-internet rhetoric with the promotion of that this guy was radicalized via ISIS videos. Yeah. Oh, he just he watched too many ISIS videos, and that's that pushed him over the edge.
Because we have the internet.
Yeah, because we have freedom of expression and free videos on the net. So
give up your freedom.
Easy.
We're back live. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network. And we've just been going crazy behind the scenes, trying to post up some of the articles and some of the videos of some of the strange anomalies and interesting ties to government, about this Orlando shooting. Mm-hmm. I think we just shared the one about the imam from the
Orlando Mosque
Farouk Shafar.
Not bad. Yes, this imam is speaking in Orlando. He said gays should be killed out of compassion, speaking weeks before the events of Orlando take place. And
well, I'm trying to find the other article to back up my next statement. Was that I do believe this imam has been protected, and multiple of these supposed terrorists that have already committed attacks have also visited this mosque as well. So this is almost like a breeding ground, and it's been protected supposedly by none other than under investigation Hillary Clinton. So
Miss Dixie Mafia herself,
tied in with the Islamicists.
You don't say.
You know, and when we did a Islam Exposed or Muhammad Exposed back a couple months ago, and really going through the history of the rise of Islam as a religious and state institution with Muhammad and his raids and his multiple wives and his beheadings that he encouraged, and things that are really, you know, touchy issues that most people would automatically call you Islamophobic just for bringing up just basic history. But, you know, we came to the conclusion with a lot of the points, a lot of the more intriguing, mystical, swept under the rug points, that Muhammad's first wife, Khadijah, was a wealthy Roman Catholic. And the ties and similarities between Roman Catholicism and the Muslim Islamic religion, you know, spanning everything from dress to religious beliefs to a church and state identity to persecuting those that don't agree with you and don't submit to the prophet or the pope, right? And you know, just interesting to note that our military and the U.S. government, we know, is highly infiltrated and made up and consists of Freemasons across the board. Coincidentally, when you go up the ladder of Freemasonry, you end up in the 32nd degree, which is the Shriner order, the order of the Shriners. And
they got the fez.
They got the fez, and they switched their holy book from the King James Bible to the Quran.
Or actually multiples, right? Because sometimes there's multiple books on their.
They might have the Book of Mormon on the table.
Yeah. But they eliminate all of them, and then there's just
the Quran at the end of it.
Exactly.
And we wonder why we have people are even in our own military officers and whatnot, higher end officials in the military saying that, you know, we can't criticize Islam or we can't blame Islam for these types of occurrences. It really starts to kind of come together here in a lot of ways. Again, our attacks aren't towards people that are always on the bottom end of things when it comes to just your average adherent to the Islamic or Catholic faith.
Yeah, because I'm of the belief that just as there are many factions of Christianity and Catholics, you know, Presbyterian, they all fall on the big category of Christianity, and there are many different sects of Islam, of Muslims, and you got the Shiites, the Sunnis. The Wahhabis are the ones that have been stirring up the most trouble, and that would be the radicalized Saudi Arabian version of Islam. And so I'm of the mentality that I don't necessarily I'm not quick to blame Islam in a whole.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt, sure. But what separates, and then going back to history and stuff and whatnot, I mean, what does separate the founder of Islam versus the founder of Christianity is, Jesus was a pacifist and died at the hands of the state, and Muhammad was a warmonger pirate who created a state and killed people at the hands of it. So, you know, vastly different origins. And again, this has nothing to do with people that are sincerely in it as far as, culture goes. I mean, a lot of people are born into a particular religion and remain in religion, and it's really not even anything super serious to them.
As long as there's no violence and, you know, your beliefs don't harm anybody else, you know, so be it.
Yeah, I have seen, but, you know, contrary to that, though, I have seen a lot of those imams preaching, like we saw that one compassionately killing, you know, people who were gay, you know, but they can what we would call sexually assault or rape a young boy.
Yeah.
But not a man. You can't have a relationship with a man, but you can with a young boy because it's dominance and it's you don't love. It's like
you can marry a minor. Yeah. Right.
It's kind of, you know, and Muhammad did
sheep, right? Animals, whatnot. And hey, military just legalized bestiality too. So
yeah, that was a while back, right?
Yeah, a while back. So I mean, we do have, again, similarities that keep arising in this situation, and I don't really put it past the whole Freemasonic agenda to really be the source of all this confusion and disorder.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, order out of chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a new world disorder, right?
That's what they do. And to really wrap up on this point, I mean, hey, historically, the Crusades led to the Inquisitions. And, you look at the history of it, and the Crusades, one can argue were justified because you did have, Muslims attacking Western Europe and killing civilians and trying to conquer cities and whatnot. And so the Holy Roman Empire had to let out their army, right, to fight back and push back the Islamic raids or whatever. But as usual, empires always turn in on themselves. And the Crusades morphed into the Inquisitions. And then it no longer was the enemy without, but searching for the enemy within. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're not even going towards the enemy without. We're just going straight to the enemy within, right? It's your guns that are the problem. It's you that needs to be analyzed and traced on your cell phone and through your emails and through your social media postings.
Your freedom is provoking them.
Yeah.
Your own existence.
They hate us because we're free, so we just need to take away some of your freedoms.
You just need to become an outright slave so everybody will be happy.
I think it was in Europe, in France, where they were bringing in the migrants or whatever. They were telling the populace there, oh, the women, y'all can't dress the way y'all do anymore. You need to dress more conservative because these Muslim men are just going to rape you or whatever and beat you.
Yeah.
Well, come to America, ladies. Come to America.
I mean, how weak? I mean,
you can't. You're faced with an extreme amount of incompetence, or as people say, political correctness, right, to the point of self-destruction, which really just points to just actively doing it. I mean, at this point, it seems like this is the actual agenda from the higher ups in the political spectrum of things, and whether it's the United Nations or our own government. This is the agenda, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a self-destruct method.
It's a self-destruct method. The West can no longer exist. We can't have civilized society anymore.
Nope.
In order to bring about a world government, we need global chaos. So
either we're going to be conquered by it, or they're going to make it to where we beg to be conquered by them.
Right.
The government.
Right.
Man.
Please just take all my rights. Just keep me safe.
Yep. It's pretty sad. Pretty sad and typical.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm over here trying to find some more articles.
Did you find that one we were talking about where with Hillary's ties to
Yes. The State Department blocked the imam from being investigated, and that is shared on the Truth Exposed radio page on Facebook.
So there's also, that would mean there's a political agenda in there.
Of course. And then you just tie that in with the fact that the father has been over there at the State Department under Hillary Clinton. Come on.
It's right there. All you got to do is start looking it up for yourself. And, all these things start slapping you in the face. And that's why you got to question things. And
there is more than a little bit of evidence. I mean, and if there's so
just
much.
give it more time. More's going to come out.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but y'all are just a bunch of conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy.
I don't have to theorize it because I'm looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like muddy tracks going from, a broken window in your house, to your neighbor's house, and
So
maybe and to the neighbor's front door. Like, it looks like, maybe my neighbor broke into my house.
And what's wrong with, free thinking?
Oh, man, you can't do that. You can't think for yourself, man. You got to take the orders. We're going to tell you how to think, project how to think.
Yeah, and kind of shout out here to Mr. Blair Tinker saying, hey, BS, you people should be hauled out into the streets and beat to death for even posting this BS.
Come and try it, dude.
But I mean, look at this. I mean, seriously, we have people calling for violence for simply posting something.
Violence only gets you more violent, sir.
That's interesting. I mean, crazy. Hey, brah, calm down. Call us up. 512-646-1984 if you want to, explain your killing of us in the street more.
Hey, you desecrate my flag or my prophet, I'm going to kill you.
Logos Radio Network presents Truth Exposed Radio, a transmission promoting resistance to tyranny. Listen in as we explore counter-economics, spontaneous order, and the human strive for liberty with your host, Rick Rody, Marshall Soul, and Cuddy Rowe. And now, Truth Exposed Radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio. And gotta love those comments that roll in as if they're directed at us. We didn't write the article, guy, man. That's out of Washington Times, Mr. Tinker. So
Tinkerbell.
So watch where you direct those comments.
I
mean, we're just showing the.
Wait. We should get beat for posting an article that someone else wrote.
He must work for the government or something.
Well, it kind of
we're
looks like
we're inciting hate. We're inciting Islamophobia over here.
This is one of these guys who wants to lay down in the street and get run over by the PC tank. I mean, come on. What is going on?
I don't know. I mean, there's footage of
beat to death for posting about this.
Yeah,
about the imam in Orlando speaking and saying that gays should be killed out of compassion.
Okay, so
that's probably one of the most extreme comments I think we've ever had on our post.
Hold on. That was like the fight the fire with fire type of weird. Like, you guys are going to post something about somebody saying something about killing people, so we're going to say you should. What?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, we're living in the days of idiocracy.
Yeah, magnified. Like, it's crazy. It's Twilight Zone level.
Give that man more electrolytes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, interestingly enough, there's that young pop star singer that got shot in Orlando too a couple of days ago.
In a very similar manner too, from my understanding.
Really? What?
Two Gun Strangers. This is a from the New York Post here, but possibly a deranged fan who murdered the Voice singer and YouTube star Christina Grimmie, and she signed autographs after her concert in Orlando after a Friday night concert. So this happened Friday night, and then the club shooting happened Saturday night, Sunday morning. So, yeah, interesting.
That guy doesn't even look like a dude that would be like listening to music like that. Like, look at that guy. Like, that guy looked like he'd be listening to that one banjo song he was playing. What? From the Deliverance, right? Like, come on, man. What the? That guy is not a fan. Well, that guy's a hitman or something. That girl probably had a contract or something they didn't want to fulfill or something.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows what she was stumbling upon? She may have been.
I know a lot of these people sign deals and then they're probably, we can't, she doesn't have enough pull. She's not able to, or she's not going to go along with saying this rhetoric on TV. Let's just cancel her.
Well, she was a voice star, like Taylor Swift and all the other ones that come off of the TV show.
And they all sell their souls, right? Like,
yeah, they.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we're pretty much loaded with this information. We're going to be here for the next couple of days. I mean, if not weeks. Yeah.
And also, this coming out, Trump and Hillary are singing the same tune when it comes to now this is justification to go and bomb Syria and Iraq.
Those are giant leaps.
I thought we were already done with Iraq.
Why are we done with doing these giant leaps of like, let's go take over countries?
It's because Obama was weak, guys. As he was weak in the war in Iraq, he brought back some troops. So, created this big void and ISIS, got sucked into the power vacuum. And next thing you know, we got to go back to bring some freedoms.
I thought it was Al Qaeda that got sucked in the vacuum. Oh wait, that's right. It came out y'all were funding Al Qaeda, so y'all had to change the name. And then it came out y'all were funding and helping ISIS get their new Toyotas and their weapons and their funding. Oh yeah, remember all those pictures with John McCain, meeting with the heads of ISIS?
Oh yeah.
But back then they were just
that was CGI, bro.
That was back in the day when they were just the Free Syrian Army.
Yeah, he just admitted on Hannity. I talked to these people. I know
them.
I'm
like family.
Intimate relations with these people.
Yeah, John McCain admitted he's a terrorist.
Intimately. Yeah, I know them intimately. I talked to them.
So that means you're a terrorist, John.
Yeah,
because you're over here begging Congress to give them money and weapons to fight the government of Syria,
and we're giving up our rights for. Yeah, what?
If the people want to overthrow their own government over there, that's their business. Let them do it. We need no hand in it. We have no business there, Mr. McCain.
Oh yeah, that's been standard U.S. procedure for
many
decades now. Many decades now, for sure. Shoot, Panama, South America.
Well, it's a grander scale, not just on U.S., but many factions all going towards the same goal of. Inciting others and sticking their nose in others' business and taking over countries and forcing them into servitude, whether it be through taxation or it's usually taxation or land. They just want to take their land.
That's what government is.
Agenda 21, take your land. Oh yeah, it's 2030 now, right?
Government's the legal use force.
Well, so I think we left enough little breadcrumbs and little, whatever. Other people are going to cover this ad nauseum. So,
Yeah, just go out there and look. We gave you some breadcrumbs. Go look it for yourself. Well, heck, we spent an hour on it. Wow.
Yeah.
Apparently, some of those breadcrumbs deserve us being beat to death. But
yeah. Hey, I invite you to drag me out in the street and try it, buddy.
Yeah.
Try it. I wish you would. I really wish you would. Actually, I wish you would.
Then we would show you why we should always carry a firearm.
I wish you would, buddy. I get to try, some new things out. I've been waiting to try out. Okay.
Been taking those Krav Maga classes.
Yeah.
You ever had a steel leg drop?
Boy. For real.
Oh, man.
All right.
Try getting your ear bit off by a grill.
Yeah, man. You thought Mike Tyson took yours off, boy.
Yeah.
Let's see what these metal teeth do.
Call him Jaws.
Yeah.
So we've been reading last couple of weeks here. We've been reading through Gustav Molinari's classic work, The Production of Security, and really highlighting some major concepts. The idea of bringing in competition into the political sphere, into the government monopoly, which is held over courts and security and defense and whatnot, and really, getting some insight through that deductive reasoning as to why this can, and will potentially, most likely, most logically, conduce a freer, cheaper society to live in. So we've been reading some of those points, and we were getting here to his next section, getting towards the bottom of this great work. Definitely encourage you guys to check it out, The Production of Security, Gustav Molinari. And this next section here is called Government and Society. So he starts off saying that, but is it conceivable that the production of security could be organized other than as a monopoly or communistically? Could it conceivably be relegated to free competition? The response to this question on the part of political writers is unanimous no. Why? Well, they'll tell you why. Because these writers, who are concerned especially with the governments, know nothing about society. They regard it as an artificial fabrication and believe that the mission of the government is to modify and remake it constantly. Now, in order to modify and remake society, it is necessary to be empowered with the authority superior to that of the various individuals of which it is composed. Monopolistic governments claim to have obtained from God himself this authority, which gives them the right to modify or remake society according to their fancy and to dispose of persons and property however they please. Communistic governments appeal to human reason as manifested in the majority of the sovereign people. But do monopolistic governments and communistic governments truly possess this superior, irresistible authority? Do they in reality have a higher authority than that which a free government could have? This is what we must investigate. So I really like, he points out the obvious in that if you're going to go to your political philosophy teacher at your local university or whatever school you're attending, don't be surprised, right? And don't, that you're not going to get this answer, right? That government can essentially be privatized, that we can open up the monopoly of the state to free competition. People that are on the payroll of the government, people that are part of the institution of the state and the doctrination and propaganda machine that it creates through different learning so-called institutions, they're not even going to conceivably tell you about this. I mean, they may have an Austrian economics division in their school, but it's probably just relegated to like a student club or something like that. You're just not going to have somebody trying to bite the hand that feeds them. I mean, this is typically...
We're in the age of Keynesianism, so they really aren't going to talk about Austrian economics too much. You have to go out of your way to find some of that teaching.
Definitely. That's hate speech these days.
Oh, yeah. Deserve to be drug out of the streets, beat up.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, and they
drug
always... out
in the streets and gassed in the chamber, I tell you.
Yeah, right. And people in politics tend to regard society as this, what is incompetent, group of buffoons that can't even, direct their own lives in the best fashion. So, of course, they deem it necessary to have a political ruling class to direct everybody and mold society into how it should be. No different with this gun situation in the clubs that we saw, right? What's the solution? The solution isn't giving people guns and allowing people to defend themselves. That's too chaotic. You're giving people too much power. The only solution, according to the state bureaucrat and the social engineer, is to take away our means of defense.
And give it solely to them.
Yeah. They'll keep us safe.
You know, I always want to just, call 911 and wait 30 or 45 minutes while they just unload on the club.
Or in case in Orlando, it took them 3 hours.
Oh, yeah, it's like stand downs, like NORAD. You know what I mean? We got to get the most out of this. Don't let a good crisis go to waste, Rahm Emanuel, the little fairy dancing, gay Obama lover boy or whatever he is. That boy is a little fishy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Went on to become mayor of Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Has dual national citizenship with U.S. and Israel. Yeah.
Wasn't he a part of their?
I believe Obama was his bitch.
Oh, come on now.
I'm serious. Like there was testimony like with them being in the same room and how Obama would like cower to him.
Oh, that too. But I think I've heard even a little bit further than that. Like
this is the Logos Radio Network.
Hey, we're back. Gotta love the tunes coming back from them ad commercials.
And I think Bill Clinton can play the saxophone like that, boy.
Yeah.
The real first black president. Oh, man, it's crazy.
So we're breaking down here Gustav Molinari's production of security. And here in Government and Society, a brief little section. Just some stuff that's always good to rant on about. Just how essentially they see all these social engineers see society as this artificial fabrication, as Molinari put it, to be molded, right? To be molded and controlled and directed in the way that they see their personal opinion, their feels, their intuition leads and dictates. And as we were pointing out, the gun control ban or gun control or gun ban or stricter gun regulations are definitely a means to mold society into a figure that they prefer and rather have everyone live in than just allowing society to be society.
It also, that's where they get the allegory of the Matrix from. And Matrix technically means crucible, and crucible is where you pour hot metal in to be molded. So there you go. I mean, we're living in a human construct, basically, of a false reality. I mean, things technically shouldn't be the way they are. All types of things that, like we were talking about, subsidized meat, and I mean,
they direct how society goes.
Yeah, the laws of economics, they've tried to suspend them, even though eventually they all create bubbles and pop.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point with the crucible and everything. I think matrix is also used in the scriptures for the word matrix is used for womb. Yeah.
Yes.
So
same. Yeah.
You got this idea of being nurtured and molded and formed,
created
within this
growing in
test tube, if you will, this experiment.
Exactly.
Yeah. So definitely something we don't want to be, ladies and gentlemen. No one would really want to desire to be the experiment of another human being.
Yeah. It's just, what was that movie? Where dude's a little experiment in a fake reality. Truman Show, it's like
right?
Someone just completely ridiculous.
Yep. And then and what happens? You end up having natural occurring actions, decisions that people will naturally take, which harm nobody's property, no one's life, no one's liberty, are now deemed criminal activity, and they're just horrors and pains are inflicted upon them, fines and penalties, just to get them to mold into the
to the good little slaves that they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty disgusting. When you really start to analyze what the nature of government is, you end up with a nasty taste in your mouth. For sure. So the next section here, the divine right of kings and the divine right of the majorities. People tend to fall into one or the other. So he comes on to say that if it were true that society were not naturally organized, if it were true that the laws which govern its motion were to be constantly modified and remade, the legislators would necessarily have to have an immutable sacred authority. Being the continuators of providence on earth, they would have to be regarded as almost equal to God. If it were otherwise, would it not be possible for them to fulfill their mission? Indeed, one cannot intervene in human affairs, one cannot attempt to direct and regulate them without daily offending a multitude of interests. Unless those in power are believed to have a mandate from a superior entity, the injured interest will resist. Whence it follows that whence the fiction of divine right? And we're told this even with it's found even within our own republic. I mean, we got the idea of divine manifest destiny, or right, the idea that this is somehow a country that was sprung up by God, right, or godly men. The idea that we need to submit to other men, and
which then is like
Romans 13 taken out of context.
Yeah, just shooting yourself in the foot on that one.
Yeah.
But the state knows best.
State is God. Depends on what your version of God is, or who your God is.
Man, Jesus should have just ran for Roman emperor. I mean, he would have fixed everything right up using the state. He could have forced people to be good. Yeah. So yeah, a conclusion of government, ladies and gentlemen, you kind of have to believe, in order to continue on this fiction of government in your head, you're going to have some kind of divine right implicated into it. Whether it's an actual divinity, a higher power that's giving the government this divine right, or even just an elite scholarly academic class that knows better than you and is so much more in tune with their conscience and morality than you are.
There's like false majorities.
There you go. Yeah. The majority can't be wrong. 13% of the population voted for Hillary, so they can't all be wrong.
A million idiots can't be wrong.
Yeah. So
it's like you look into a crowd of supporters, and then you start to realize that the further back you look, you realize, hey, those are cardboard cutouts. But you'd only realize that if you were there in person, because if you just saw a picture of it, you wouldn't know any the wiser.
Yeah. Yeah, just like when they dubbed over booing, when Ron Paul got a giant cheering ovation back when, I can't remember when it was. And the only reason people knew is because people were there live recording and filming it. And, of course, the live, on TV, they edited it out and everything. Yeah. Shenanigans.
Yep. Can't trust what you see and hear all the time.
No.
Especially through digital formats.
Oh, yeah. We've seen this new technology now, right? Where they can just take some video of somebody and then somehow put some little program over your face, and you can just start talking, and it'll make the face talk. Like, that's just crazy. Seen a guy doing it with Bush or whatever.
Yeah.
Insane.
Sounding like him too?
Yeah, I think so. I know I saw him definitely doing the facial, mannerisms. He was talking or whatever, and it was showing George Bush's face moving exactly like the guy was. He's able to make him say, whatever he wanted.
Like a Bush soundboard.
Maybe I should find that one and share that one too.
Yeah, right.
You might get drug out in the streets and beaten for it, Cuddy.
Yeah.
I'm inviting someone, to do it, by sharing information.
Then you're just asking for it.
I am.
The importance of backing up your rhetoric with your fists.
Yeah. Yep. You always got to force those good ideas.
Yeah.
The best ones need force.
So he goes on to say that this fiction, divine right of rulers, it is certainly the best imaginable. If you can succeed in persuading the multitude that God himself has chosen certain men or certain races to give laws to society and to govern it, no one will dream of revolting against these appointees of providence, and everything the government does will be accepted. A government based on divine right is imperishable. This is why Sharia law and radical Islam are so detrimental as far as really getting freedom to the whole world, when people are so aligned with their religious beliefs that they can't let others be. And this goes for a lot of religions too. I mean, I know we had some Christian pastors, so-called, even come out and applaud the killing of people in this community just because they were, gay and lesbian or whatever. I mean, that's not a Christian thing to do. And applauding violence and applauding people losing their lives.
That's compassionate, Rick.
That's the opposite of that. And it's definitely not conducive for freedom. So definitely coming on to a break. Stay tuned.
Are you lucky? Researchers say living a charmed life is more about the choices you make than fate. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back with 4 behaviors that increase your odds of finding a pot of gold at the end of your rainbow.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
According to psychologist Richard Wiseman, people blessed with good fortune practice 4 behaviors that set them apart. Lucky people don't wait around for a windfall. They make luck happen. They network and keep an eye out for opportunities, then they act on them. Lucky people develop their intuition and trust their gut feelings. Lucky people expect good things to happen to them. They persist in working toward their goals because they believe in positive outcomes. These expectations become self-fulfilling prophecies. And finally, lucky people turn lemons into lemonade. They don't dwell on setbacks. Rather, they find ways to take control and turn situations around in their favor. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Chemtrails. You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at logosradionetwork.com.
We're back live, Truth Exposed Radio. And we are breaking down some philosophy on security.
And the monopolization of it. Should it be monopolized?
Well, it hasn't worked out so far very well.
No. Most things monopolies don't work out good.
How long did it take for them to show up on the scene over there in Orlando? 3 hours? What?
Well, the whole situation supposedly took 3 hours.
They waited till he mowed everybody down. And then they said, okay.
We get the body count high enough? All right. Have we dragged all the victims to the scene yet? Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I have the 3 other FBI shooters gone down to the...
Jump in the black Impala and take off.
Why's it got to be black?
That was racist.
But you said it.
Yeah, no, it's always the black Impala. Unmarked. That's how they black bag you, too.
Yeah.
The
blackness.
Yeah, the blackness. Darkness.
I've always loved black as a color. It's always been my favorite color.
I'm wearing black right now. Don't be hating.
What do they say? It's supposed to be the absence of color, right? Technically?
The absence of light.
Absence of light, absence of all color, whereas all colors are equal white on the light spectrum or whatever.
Whoa. Mind blown.
All right. So, though we like keeping very colored and lively up in here, we also like wearing all black when we can. So,
I also in my work shirt from earlier today, so I'm not in all black.
You got a black flag.
I saw that thong hanging out too.
What?
What color was it, Rick?
I was hanging out with the imams.
Oh man. So, yeah, if they can convince you that government is a divine institution, and most in particular that those ruling the government at the moment are placed there by God, it pretty much seems very unlikely, almost impossible that you'll revolt against such a situation.
Well, if God didn't want him in office, he'd take him out.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
If God didn't want him in office, he would come down and tell you not to vote for him next time.
Which that's a conundrum too, right? As far as
yeah, voting and
voting and not voting, and whether I mean, it's just a funny thing. It in a lot of ways it really justifies what the Bible teaches about leaders and rulers of the world. I mean, it basically says that it is all in God's hands. In other words, things are already written in stone, and not to sound like a determinist or a Calvinist or anything like that, but things are prophesied to happen. And if that's the case, then our vote would really wouldn't matter regardless.
Yeah, why even do it? I mean, it's already going to happen.
And right, and what I'm getting at is, like, even if the vote did matter, I mean, it couldn't matter. In other words, so
because it's not what dictates anything. So,
it's not. Yeah. So And that's exactly what we see. I mean, even if, what happened to Sanders, what happened to Ron Paul? I mean, the majority support, and they didn't get the nomination. So it seems to be that people are definitely selected versus elected when it comes to positions of power. So it's definitely
the only choice you get is of the people they have selected for you.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty much the choice, right? So in that sense, I don't see an inconsistency there. I definitely see the scriptures being justified in that sense. I mean, presidents have been elected, ladies and gentlemen, or elected by the powers that be, not
or selected.
Yeah, guess you can interchange those words. They're kind of synonyms there. Should be a better analogy. But anyhow, so on continuing on from divine providence and divine right, if one takes the thought into one's head that the leader of the people do not receive their inspirations directly from providence itself, that they obey purely human impulses, the prestige that surrounds them will disappear. One will irreverently resist their sovereign decisions as one resists anything man made whose utility has not been clearly demonstrated. Makes sense, right? Once you start living in a more practical sense, in the sense of just believing that they're human just like anybody else, and we all have a choice as to where we want our destiny to go, then if you can't be convinced logically or rationally that their decisions are the best for you, you're going to tend to resist those.
They've manifested a destiny for me.
Yeah, no more choice to be made.
We don't have to. It's been made for us. Set in stone.
Don't even have to choose anymore. You just let it all happen.
Yeah.
So, Rick, do your clothes just appear for you in the morning tomorrow? In the mornings when you wake up, they just appear there? Like, you don't even have to choose?
So when he jumps out of bed, they just magically pop on, too.
Sewn on during the night. Yeah, right?
Open the closet door, and it's like, there they are.
Pressed and everything. Presto.
Bow ties and all.
Yep. So it goes on to say that it is accordingly fascinating to see the pains theoreticians of the divine right take to establish the superhumanity of the races in possession of human government. These are the kind of writers that John Locke highly annihilated with his reason and logic. So he's going to quote here Joseph de Maistre. Listen, for example, to Joseph de Maistre. Quote, man does not make sovereigns. At the very most, he can serve as an instrument for dispossessing one sovereign and handing his state over to another sovereign, himself already a prince. Moreover, there has never existed a sovereign family traceable to plebeian origins. If this phenomenon were to appear, it would mark a new epoch on the earth. It is written, I am the maker of sovereigns. This is not just a religious slogan, a preacher's metaphor. It is the literal truth, pure and simple. It is the law of the political world. God makes kings, word for word. He prepares royal races, nurtures them at the center of a cloud which hides their origins. And finally, they appear crowned with glory and honor. They take their places. And, and now that I'm thinking in the context of that particular verse in Daniel, when it talks about, when Daniel states that God both kind of puts kings up and tears them down, or sets kings up and brings them down. More contextually, he could have very well just been talking about the kingdoms that he was about to describe. Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome. He could have been talking about those and not any after the fact. So yeah, it's a tricky thing. You got to know, with literature that's just a couple thousand years old, and it's spiritual, religious texts or whatever, you got to be really careful as to how you apply it.
Depending on how it's interpreted, it could also mean that he set them up as in he gave them the options to choose which way they wanted to go, and they chose a particular way.
Yeah, true that. Like you're saying, like God gave them the choice to be a good king or a bad king, basically, or
yeah, if you want to sum it up in that manner, yeah, you could. You're given a path before you, and through each path you take, you come to another crossroads, and it's all the choices you make will lead you to the end there, your means.
Oh, you mean your free will, your choices?
Yeah, those that you're about to used to have.
Yeah.
We don't get those anymore, guys.
So yeah, we have to be very careful with, just really taking the context of what's being said and when it's being said and who it's being said to and what's the full context of it. Because definitely extrapolating text that's a couple thousand years old and trying to apply it to today's culture can take a...
Yeah, because that one term that he was mentioning was an epoch, which would mean a whole new era of humanity, like a mindset.
Yep. We are coming on the break. Stay tuned.
Easy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio on the Logos Radio Network. Hope you're enjoying this June, was it 15th now? Get my days
Oh,
off.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hope you're enjoying this June 15th, 2016.
Transmission.
Yep.
Not broadcast, it's a transmission. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going over the production of security, some information, some brain food for you. I'll go ahead and pass that back down to Richie Rich.
Yeah, so we just finished reading up here on some quote by looks like some king, defender of kings and rulers and whatnot, Joseph de Maistre, a sympathizer of divine right, quoting the Bible, trying to apply it to Europe in his day and time.
So he's pretty much saying there's always been like an establishment, an aristocratic order in power. There's never been a plebeian, an underling that has become a leader, because in doing so, it would be a new epoch, a new scenario for mankind, a new cultural change.
There you go.
If it were.
Implying that we were still in this the same.
Yeah, implying we're still in that same the same scenario.
Yeah. Yep.
Not much has changed. I mean, you may have thought you went a little far when you got a peanut farmer named Jimmy Carter in office, but things ain't always what they seem.
Not at all. So he goes on to say that according to this system, which embodies the will of providence in certain men, and which invests those chosen ones with the anointed ones, those chosen ones, these anointed ones, with a quasi-divine authority, these subjects evidently have no rights at all. They must submit without question to the decrees of the sovereign authority as if they were decrees of providence itself. According to Plutarch, the body is the instrument of the soul, and the soul is the instrument of God. According to the divine right school, God selects certain souls and uses them as instruments for governing the world. If men had faith in this theory, surely nothing could unsettle a government based on divine right. Unfortunately, they have completely lost faith. Why? Because one fine day, they took it into their heads to question and to reason, and in questioning and in reasoning, they discovered that their governors governed them no better than they, simply mortals out of communication with providence. They could have done it this themselves. It was free inquiry that demonetized the fiction. I guess turn it into a demon of a theory. I guess, right? Demonetized.
Yeah, it's pretty much an old way of saying demonize.
Right. So it's this free inquiry that demonized the fiction of divine right to the point where the subjects of monarchs or of aristocracies based on divine right obey them only insofar as they think it in their own self-interest to obey them. Has the communist fiction fared any better? According to the communist theory, of which Rousseau is the high priest, authority does not descend from on high, but rather comes up from below. The government no longer looks to providence for its authority. It looks to united mankind, to the one indivisible and sovereign nation.
And I stand corrected. I think the way that term would be understood is like, as you're demonetizing something, making something lesser of value. Like, and in that term, it would be like,
okay, there we go. So it brings, okay, that makes sense. So free inquiry brought down the importance, brought down the value, the prestige,
right,
of the fiction of divine right. That one makes more sense.
The place of the king.
He was getting a little spiritual there, a little mystical there. Doesn't seem something that a typical economist would do. So yeah, communism then supplanted the divine right of kings for the divine right of the people, right, or the nation. And here's what the communists, the partisans of popular sovereignty, assume. They assume that human reason has the power to discover the best laws and the organization which most perfectly suits society, and that in practice these laws reveal themselves at the conclusion of a free debate between conflicting opinions. If there is no unanimity, if there is still dissensions after the debate, the majority is in the right, since it comprises the larger number of reasonable individuals. These individuals are, of course, assumed to be equal, otherwise the whole structure collapses. Consequently, they insist that the decisions of the majority, and here I'm assuming he's meaning obviously not, he's not talking this as far as people being unequal in
no, he's probably pretty much talking like a parliament. The people in the place of power equal amongst each other.
Well, right. Well, and if you extend it to the voting populace, he's pretty much saying that we're all equally rational, right? That the idea that no particular people or person or group of individuals can be more rational or less rational than anybody else. We're all pretty much on the same level of reason, of knowledge, of oh,
God help us.
Yeah.
For real.
Because then, I mean, that's what you have to. I mean, it makes sense, right? That's pretty much what we have to assume when it comes to the voting to democracy.
It's the general belief or the general mindset
that everybody is made up. Everyone's a rational, a reasonable person.
Well, it's the rule of thumb. You go ask 100 people on the street, you get a consensus on a particular topic. And thus you can pretty much say, on average, the average person thinks this.
Sure. But does that prove then that majority theory should then be enforced to the minority who differ?
No, because it'll come to the day when they said the majority of people are idiots and they should all be euthanized, and then the intelligent ones get stuck in the mix. Oh wait, that already happened with the eugenics. Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it goes on to say that consequently they insist that the decisions of the majority must become law, and that the minority is obliged to submit to it, even if it is contrary to its most deeply rooted convictions and injures its most precious interests. That is the theory that, being put into practice, does the authority of the decision of the majority really have this irresistible absolute character as it is assumed? Is it always and in every instance respected by the minority? Could it be? Let us take an example. Let us suppose that socialism succeeds in propagating itself among the working classes and the countryside as it is already among the working classes in the cities, that it consequently becomes the majority in the country, and that profiting from the situation, it sends a socialist majority to the legislative assembly and names a socialist president. Suppose that this majority and this president, invested with sovereign authority, decrees the imposition of a tax on the rich of $3 billion in order to organize the labor of the poor, as Proudhon has demanded. Is it probable that the minority would submit peacefully to his iniquitous and absurd, yet legal, yet constitutional plunder?
I don't think so. I think they're smart enough to resist, even if it means death.
A lot of people do. I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
When are you going to turn your guns in, Cuddy?
Well, it just only makes sense, because if I didn't, we wouldn't have roads.
We got to submit, right, for the roads, for the kids.
We have to. I mean,
we wouldn't have cool pictures of space and stuff on the space program.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Oh, the artist renderings?
Yeah. How else are we supposed to believe that one day we're going to live in space and stuff?
Yeah.
No AR-15s in space.
So is it probable that the minority would submit peacefully to something that goes against their own interests? The answer is an obvious no. Without a doubt, it would not hesitate to disown the authority of the majority.
And they've got the money to buy the resistance.
And to defend its property. What do you mean?
Well, if they're saying they're taxing the rich can hire bodyguards and help the people that would help them refuse the tax as it comes by force.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess you could to a degree, but no one's got more guns than the government. And he's given a scenario here where basically a government can overpower the rich pretty quick.
It's a consolidation of power.
It's a consolidation of power.
The rich don't have that. They don't even have a monopoly or some kind of a war of warlords, or whatever you want to call it, mercenaries. I mean, it's by the collective, right? That they get all the power.
Did they try this back in the 1930s with Smedley Butler? Did the rich try to overthrow FDR? Just they chose the wrong leader to pay off to do so?
I don't know. Were they paying for a presidential candidate or something?
They were paying They did pay Smedley Butler to overthrow FDR, and he went along with it just long enough to get the names of those who were aspiring to have this done.
He was a general or something?
Yeah, Major General Smedley Butler, Marine Corps Major General.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that there's different interests in play, but they're the rich are trying to gain control of the government because it knows it can't, if the government is put in the wrong hands,
you can't beat them, you got to join them.
You got to join them, you got to control them, so.
Yeah,
because there was Firestone, the name's Michelin. There's a ton of companies that were involved in this lobby, and nothing ever happened to them. Slaps on the wrist.
Well, of course they took it over, or whatever.
Yeah, right. Paid off enough of the bureaucrats.
Yeah.
We're coming to the end of our show, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. Reading some of this Gustav Molinari. We're going to be back next week, every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. here on the Logos Radio Network. Definitely check out logosradionetwork.com and help us out with fun.